created every single thing that we have. All the knowledge that has been around for generations ever since time, God created that. And a lot of times, people seem to forget. You see, Jesus Christ talked to the Pharisees and he said to them, "You knowledgeable people, you people have, you know, gone through all the trials and tribulations of learning the knowledge and wisdom. However, you choose not to use this knowledge and wisdom, in a proper way, meaning that you know the wisdom above all of the people. However, you are misleading them by deceiving them, by using it in a manipulation manner." What that means is you know the rights and the wrongs of the knowledge. However, you know the people are not that advanced in knowing the rights and wrong of the knowledge, so you use it to gain benefits, to gain rituals, false rituals, things that shouldn't be established. You use it to gain that. So what that means is you know what you're doing, but you choose not to. You see, how does that relate back to us today? A lot of times we have relationships in different variations. We could have work relationships, we could have spouse relationships, we have relationships all around. And in those relationships, what we must understand is we learn from them. So that means we learn one aspect and the other. So what you like, what you don't like, what you can gain, what you don't gain from. Sometimes there's distractions all around, right? All of these things are all part of life. And sometimes these distractions also help you to evolve simply because you know what to do and what not to do. Distractions are meant to set you back. However, if you utilize those distractions, they can intensify your movement to evolve and grow. So, you see, God's kingdom is above all kingdoms. God's knowledge is above all knowledge. God's wisdom is above all wisdom. People may think that they have, knowledge and wisdom because they and their cultures have established this knowledge for hundreds of thousands of years. However, due to the fact that God, King of Kings, Lord of Lords, Yahweh, Jehovah, have created this knowledge, He, in fact, has shown it in many various ways. However, a lot of people do know that He is the creator of all, but they choose not to worship Him. They choose to do other things. They choose to manipulate the system simply because it comforts their way of life. It comforts their improvement of life. And so their whole life becomes a sort of a game, systematic game planning, mocking, deceiving, thinking that they, in fact, have more knowledge and wisdom enough to deceive even God Himself. Imagine God created you and He knows every single thing about you. However, you think that because you can walk and talk, you are able to know more than God. You see, I am yet to understand those that do not have the knowledge and the wisdom to be able to live forever. However, they know God possesses all of those knowledge. Now, like I said, in the realm of the spirits, there is no democracy. like how we see it physically. It is absolute power and absolutely power only. That's why it says God has established his throne in heaven, and his kingdom rules above all. He didn't say God and his sidekick, God and somebody else. It's only God and God alone. Though you see him in phases of three, he is one in three, and three in one, just like how he created us, three in one. For even himself lived in all his creations. So it is up to you that you know what the right thing is. Remember, God's not going to ask you about how financially suitable you are, because you're not going to pay your way into heaven. Because if that was the case, then we would be living a different type of life. You understand? You see, the things about us and other creations is everybody has their limitation of how they're going to get into heaven. You see, an animal is not going to be discarded out of heaven simply because of their nature, even though they're aggressive, even if they attacked humans or they killed humans, even if they did all those things, because animals have a certain instinct that they basically, if they're not trained to do so, right? They're basically reacting on life instincts, and that is a different category, meaning they're protecting themselves before they attack, and protection are much different than attacks. So, but humans, if you are a stable mind, that means stable mind sometimes could be stable mind to God, but not stable mind to the people. But I am talking about the real stable mind, the one that is stable to God, because God knows you in and out more than anybody. His evaluation is much higher than anybody else. And that is why he is saying to you, your elevation comes from what? What is within. What is within is coming from me, so I know it much better than anything else. And it is what you choose to do and what you decide to do and when to do it. Utilize the ability to change others through your passion and through your motivation. A lot of times you might not be able to give physically, but can you give spiritually to others? Can you give spiritually to the community that you live in? Because every powerful man on this planet knows about the spiritual world. They know that spirituality do exist, and that is absolute power, and that none of them, right, would ever join certain organizations if life was just simple like that. Think about it. You see, a lot of people say Kanye West sacrificed his mother. And he said he sacrificed his mother. He said Jordan sacrificed his dad, Bill Cosby sacrificed his son, and so forth, Beyonce and those other celebrities. There's a price to pay for everything. And I told you there's two avenues. Either you can worship Jesus Christ, where that avenue is basically understanding that the faithful God has sacrificed for you. Notice it's all a sacrifice. Or not. Do not be bothered by what others say, because the Holy Spirit is a different guide within you than others. They do not know to the extent of the relationship that you have between you and the Holy Spirit and the guidance. Only your GPS and your concept of play and the Holy Spirit will understand these things, simply because everybody else has a different kind of circumstance in life. If others point fingers, if others say, well, this is what you're doing, then that is a direction that is given to you physically. It is not a spiritual direction. Spirituality can always be manipulated, but that is not the real knowledge of power and thoughts and love. King of Kings, Lord of Lords wants to develop a relationship because he wants you to understand his ways. His ways are above all simply because he is what? Superior to all. And he knows that the superiority of his powers are all inside of you. Or else he wouldn't focus on developing a relationship, because he wants you to grow. He wants you to charge. He wants you to elevate and evolve and grow. In order for you or anybody to do that, you cannot focus on what others are physically telling you. Times will change. The truth is the truth. Follow the truth, because that is the map of life. You can make mistakes, and you do make mistakes every single day. But that doesn't mean God doesn't rectify those mistakes and turn those mistakes into good, evolving truth. Meaning that he can take what you're doing wrong, that others may think you're doing it wrong, and change it to what? Teach others, because we're here to learn and teach. It don't matter what level you're on. Understand that there's other levels that are higher. But if it's not the right level and it's not coming from the right direction, right, which is Yahweh, then you have mistaken, because materialistic things do not get you to heaven. Everybody wants to go to heaven. The spirit that lives inside of you is what? Coming from where? Exactly, you borrowed it. So it don't matter if there's clones. It don't matter if there's changes in the world and people can learn to live forever. But what is forever? You see what I'm saying? What is forever? You think the solution is other planets? Or do you think that the solution is heaven? Because our flesh will grow. If we change into different sleeves, still, our spirit does not belong to us. So we can't truly do what we want with it, because one has peace and the other has punishment. Two of them, the two P's, either one direction or the other direction. Both of them have a way of angle. You see, guidance is the ability to clear your mind at a state in time so that you can fully understand the Holy Spirit that is within you. The Holy Spirit is who is the power of God that speaks to you. The Holy Spirit. See what I'm saying? Jesus left, brought the Holy Spirit. The Holy Spirit is who's speaking to all these people. And every message is different, but every message connects because it's eternal. But you don't feed your soul. Every day you're watching what others are doing. Every day you're complaining about others. Every day you're saying, oh, this is thing. You're not going to like everybody, but your prayers cannot be selfish to yourself. You understand? The things you do cannot be just for yourself. See what I'm saying? I created a EP music. It's called Independent Loyalty. Independent loyalty is basically you must be independent, right? If you feel independent, loyalty is key in what you do. You see what I'm saying? Loyalty in this world is very hard to come by, simply because you can do so much for others, but for them to be loyal to you can be hard. It's the same thing. Betrayal is something that is like a name tag nowadays. So a lot of people find betrayal something that is easy to come by simply because they find it easier. Hold on. You understand? They find betrayal easier. So just remember, the life we live is valued at the authority you have in the spiritual. Your spiritual, right, enhancement comes from your work that you put in. Are you fasting? Are you praying? Just because others want to laugh, right? Maybe you play games, right? Video games. They might say, well, video games is part of the devil and ray. No, there's a good part and there's a bad part. But understand, where is your level of spirituality? Where's your level of spirituality? Because sometimes it does not matter about the flesh. Understand that. Your flesh, it doesn't matter about that. You can be 70, 80 years old, but that doesn't mean your wisdom of the spirit is 70, 80 years old. The same way you age in the physical is not the same way you age in the spiritual. Solomon, right? Think about it. Samuel was 5 years old when he was filled with the Holy Spirit. And so tell me, how come God decided to use Samuel? And he was the one that blessed David. So it is your type of relationship. If God chooses to use you, he's going to use you. And he could only use people to do good. That's what he can only do. Understand that. He can only use people to do good. You see, in the Garden of Eden, right? When Lucifer, the serpent, came inside there, all the fruits and animals, everything was upside down. However, you notice when as soon as God's presence came, everything started to revive, because his presence bring revival. God's dominant presence, omnipresence, bring revival. You see, revival will happen. You see what I'm saying? And it's going to happen in Toronto. This revival that's going to be worldwide revival is going to happen in Toronto. I said it long time ago, and I am going to say it again. You see, when it takes place, do not doubt the abilities of God. You see, sometimes in the world, there are wars that are set out to happen, But sometimes you always get the opportunity to change that aspect of concept. But to who can it be given to? Who can it be given to? Remember the story of Abraham, that God talked to Abraham and God used Abraham, and God was making Abraham judge, right? Judge the people of Sodom and Gomorrah, right? Think about it. He talked to Abraham. He said, these people have crossed the line. I'm going to destroy them. When God is talking to you about certain things, he asks you to do certain things. And so to see how the people will then change from their wicked ways, how the people will alter certain things. You see, in war, we have seen too much war stories and heard too much war stories, and it's November and it's Remembrance Day. But every soldier that been on the battlefield, that have shed blood, and seen blood and gore knows that nobody wins, because freedom should not be something that we have to fight. But sometimes the ways of the people are decided through those means. You understand? They know. So what? Would they go to hell because of their fight for freedom? Abraham had to fight wars. Moses had to fight wars, like the soldiers of today. So understand, times have changed. Holy Spirit is dwelling amongst the people, people that you don't even expect. I told you, God uses the people that you don't expect to be judges of those who are expected to be highly favored, but they are not. You see, expected and unexpected is too different. God used the unexpected. The unexpected was David. The unexpected was Moses. The unexpected was Abraham. Hmm? Notice he used all those people that nobody really fathomed. Like, it's like, yeah, who are these people? Abraham was 100 years old when he had Isaac. Hmm? Sarah was how old? Very old, 90 something. Hmm? Think about it. People that were forgotten. Hmm? People that was forgotten. You see? So at the end of the day, understand it is your spiritual capability. It is your worship with God. Nobody can manipulate your worship with God. Nobody can manipulate the time that you take to worship God if you choose to worship Him. But don't say that, oh, at the end, I was trying to do this or I was trying to do this. Because guess what? Salvation is not something that, you can go and buy. You can't buy salvation. Hmm? You cannot buy it. You have to actually earn it. And in order to earn it, you have to actually put in effort. An effort that is not judged based on your physical effort, is your spiritual effort. Hmm? Because your spirit is given to you, but it is not yours for you to look after it. The only thing is your free will. That aura part is your actual existence in all of this. So if you separate God's spirit that He has put in you, it is your free will. That free will is your actual, you know, part of you, your gauge, your meter to say right or wrong, good or bad, passion or not passionate, all of them, true or lie.